Okay, this is the solutions to 2023's M4 Maths paper. So this is a higher tier calculator paper. Okay, right, first question. It says, Colin wants to put 4,500 into savings account for 2 years. He can choose one of the following options. Option A is 3.5% compound interest for 2 years. Option B is 5% compound interest per year for the first year, followed by 2% interest for the second year. And you have to say which one is better. So for option A, it's just going to be 4,500, and if it goes up by 3.5% every year, it goes up to 103.5. So that, as a decimal, it's 1.035, and it's 2 years, so that's squared. And if you do that out to two decimal places, remember, because we're dealing with money, that's what you're going to get. Option B, for option B, it goes up by 5% in the first year, so multiplied by 1.05. It then goes up by 2%. So multiply by 1.02, and if you do that out, you will get £4,819.50. The question then says you have to find the difference between them, which one's better. So option A is clearly better, and the difference between them, just do a wee subtraction, and you're going to get £1 and a penny. So your answer, option A, by £1 and a penny. Okay, next question says, the graph shows the cost of hiring a mini digger for up to 7 days, including delivery charge. So there's your graph. So you can see, if you just hire it, and you actually just take it out of place and say, I actually don't want it, it's cost you £50, and every day then it costs you a bit more, and so on. So the intercept, the y-intercept, is the cost of just hiring it, and then the extra bit is for how many days you have got it. So use a graph to find the delivery charge. So here, £50, they've called it your delivery charge, or you could call it the one-off fee, or whatever way they were going to word it. So, but £50 is what you're doing here. The next bit says to find the gradient of the line. So use nice points here to do this. So this point here at 0.50 is a nice point, and another nice point that I can see is, well, there's one there, that's even better than the one I used. That's going to be 6 and 500. So the gradient, remember, whoops, that's very roughly done there. The gradient is your rise, so this thing, over your run, which is this. So my rise would be from 50 to 500, it's going to be 450, and the run of that is then going to be 6. So from 0 up to 6, so my gradient is 450 over 6, and if you just do 450 divided by 6, you will get 75. So the gradient is 75. Okay, what does a gradient represent when hiring the digger? The gradient in this case is a cost per day. Next question says expand and simplify. So this is just multiplying out the brackets. You'll have 6y squared minus 14y, then minus 8. And then that just becomes 6y squared minus 22y. Okay, question 4 says a circle of diameter 12 centimeters just fits inside a semicircle as shown. Show that the shaded area and the unshaded area are exactly the same. So the shaded is this circle, so I'm just going to call it circle. The radius of that circle, the whole diameter of that circle would be 12. So that means the radius of the circle would be from here to here is going to be 6. So the area of the circle is pi r squared. So pi times 6 squared, which is 36 pi. Do not change that. Leave it as 36 pi. This will work much nicer for you. And okay, and then what else we got? We'll work out the area of the semicircle first of all. So the semicircle, its radius, if you think about the radius of it, it's going to be that, which is just 12. So it's a semicircle is a half times pi times 12 squared. 12 squared would be 144. Half of that is going to be 72 pi. But so the unshaded area, we'll call it, the unshaded is the area of the semicircle minus the area of the circle. And what do you see here? That is going to be 36 pi. So my area of my shaded, which was this, is equal to this. So what way have I said this? I've just said, so the shaded equals the unshaded, just like that. would be fine. Okay, question 5. It says the times which members of the gym spend on a treadmill are recorded in the table. You've got a grouped frequency here. A grouped frequency. So what first thing you need to do is find your midpoints. So this is, and just call it midpoint x. Then you're going to have your fx column. So to get your midpoint, you're doing, for the first one, it's 0 plus 15 and divide by 2. The next one's 15 plus 30 divided by 2. 30 plus 45 divided by 2. 45 plus 60 and divide by 2. So when you do those out, you'll have 7.5, 22.5, 37.5, and 52.5. Your fx, to get your fx, it's 8 times, the f times the x, so it's 8 times 7.5, it should be in this one, so it's 60, and then 3 times this is going to be 67.5, 5 times the 37.5 is going to be 187.5, and 4 times the 52.5 would be 210. Add up your frequencies to get your sigma f, and I got 20 when I did that. Just check my working out in case I made a mistake. Add up your fx, and you will get your sigma fx, you'll get 525. Again, check that please. And then your mean, or the estimate if I mean I should say, is sigma fx divided by sigma f. So 525 divided by 20, which is 26.25. Okay, good wee question. The next one, it says, explain why your answer in A is only an estimate. Now remember how we found our mean. We had to use this column here, which was the midpoints. So we have no idea what someone's actual value. There's 8 people in this class, but we don't know what their actual times were. We're guessing, or we're assuming, that their time was 7.5. So the reason it's only an estimate is as you have assumed, as you assume everyone in an interval takes the mid value, the midpoint, they'll say midpoint value. Okay, right. Is it possible to have a right angle triangle with sides 20 centimeters, 21 centimeters, and 28? If it was possible, then it would satisfy your Pythagoras theorem. So we're going to look at that. So if there was going to be a hypotenuse here out of 20, 21, and 28, it would be 28. So just work out 28 squared. I did that and I got 784. And then the other two sides, 20 squared plus 21 squared, if I did that out, I got 841. So the answer is no, as it does not satisfy Pythagoras' theorem. Okay. Right, next one says Barry sold his car for £10,225. The car had depreciated by 18.2% since Barry bought it originally. How much did Barry buy the car for? So let's write down what and figure out what this is. So this amount of money isn't 100%. It's 18.2% less than 100%. I worked that out in my calculator to get 81.2%. Now, what I'm going to do is go down to 1%, then I'm going to go up to 100%. So I'm going to do that in one go on my calculator by dividing by 81.2, and then I'm going to go on by multiplying. So if you put that in, you've shown all your working out. And when I did that out, I got 12,500. So that's my answer, 12,500. Okay, on to question 8. Question 8. Now you can do lots of ways. You could just multiply out the brackets, but I like taking a common denominator, so I'm going to do it the way I like to do this. But yes, by all means, what you could do here, I'll just show you. You could just multiply out the thing and just do 1/3 times 2x, which is going to be 2/3 x. Then minus, that's going to be 5/3. And then over here, that's going to be 9/4x plus 3/4 is equal to 5/6. And then tidy up. In fact, you know what? I will just do it this way. I'll just do it this way. Okay, calculator exam, we might as well. Okay, so if we have that, right, let's just do it that way. As much as I don't like it, I have to say. we'll go for it. Okay, so we've just multiplied out the bracket, so we have 2/3 of x minus 5/3, and then plus 3/4 times 3 is going to be 9/4 x, and then plus 3/4 is equal to 5/6. All we're going to do is tidy up here. So we're tidying up your x's, so you're doing 2/3, and then plus your 9/4, and then that works out to be, as ugly as it is, 35/12x. Leave it like that, doesn't matter. And then fire everything else over the other side. So you had 5, 6. Fire your 5/3 across and take your 3/4 across. So let's tidy it up. Let's work out what that is. 5/6, and then plus 5/3, and then minus 3/4. And that worked out. So I've got 35/12. X is equal to 7/4. And then my x is just equal to 7/4 divided by 35/12. And you can do that on your calculator. Divided by 5/12, and that is equal to 3/5. Okay. Right, so again, my way of doing it, my preferred way of doing it is a common denominator, but I think, to be honest, that way I've just done it is probably easier, as much as I don't like it. There we are. There is a question later on where you will do your common denominator thing. We will see it. We'll see that anyway. Okay, question 9. Write this as a product of prime factors. I'm just going to do this out using your ladder method. So I'm going to try and divide by my smallest prime factor, which is 2. Prime number, which is 2. Can't do it. So you divide by 3, and it goes in 1575. Still divisible by 3. Goes in 525. Still divisible by 3. Goes in 175. No longer divisible by 3. Go on to the next prime number, which is 5. Divides by 5. And then divides by 7. And there you have it. So to guarantee getting your marks, I would write this in index form. So 3 cubed times 5 squared times 7. So you might write out 3 times 3 times 3 times 5 times 5 times 7. But to guarantee getting your marks, put it in the index form like that. Oh, here, it even says writing your answer in index notation if I'd read the question. So you must do that. Okay, next one is factorizing. Now this is a simple quadratic. My sum is 2 and my product is minus 35. So go through minus 35. It could be minus 1 times 35. It could be minus 5 times 7, and that one works for you. So you could factorize this thing to be x minus 5 upon x plus 7. So that's your answer, x minus 5 upon x plus 7. Now it says hence or otherwise for only 1 mark. This one I thought this was a bit tight. X squared plus 2x equals 35. Bring it all to one side first of all. X squared plus 2x minus 35 is equal to 0. And you know how that factorizes now. So it factorizes as x minus 5 upon x plus 7 equals 0. Lovely thing in mathematics, you've got a times b equals 0. So that means either a is equal to 0 or b is equal to 0. And then you can solve that. So here, let's just get rid of that. That means x minus 5 is equal to 0, or x plus 7 is equal to 0, which means x is equal to 5, or x is equal to minus 7. So x is equal to 5, or x is equal to minus 7. So that's a bit of work to do for only 1 mark. Next question says, find the equation of a line passing through the points 0, minus 2, and 16. First of all, what is your equation of your line? It's y equals mx plus c. Your m is, and I call it the y difference over the x difference, or the rise over run, or you could say it is equal to y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2. But we'll have a look at this and see. So I'm going to start with this one. So 16 is the y value, and then minus, and then on this one the y value is minus 2, 16 minus minus 2, and then again this one, back to this one, my x value is 6, and in this one the x value is 0. So m is equal to 16 minus minus 2 is 18 over 6, m is equal to 3. So what have we got? We've got y is equal to 3x plus c. Let me get rid of the mess there. Y is equal to 3x plus c, and then sub in one of the points. Now if you think about it here, this point here is 0 minus 2. So minus 2 is on your y-axis, so that is your intercept, but not a lot of people see that, so just going to show you how we can still use that to do it. So sub in 0 minus 2. Your y value is minus 2, and then it is 3 times 0. 3 times 0 is 0, remember, not 3 or not 1. So minus 2 is equal to just 0 plus c. So you've got your c is equal to minus 2. And your last line, don't forget to write it, y is equal to 3x minus 2 for your 3 marks. Okay, question 12. It says, boy is flying a kite as shown in the diagram. Calculate h, the height of the kite above the ground. Okay, right, we'll come back to this diagram in a wee second. Let me just draw this. I know that's 35. Oops, mark on my wee right angle, and I know that's 7. And we'll find x first and then work out the height h. Okay, this is SOHCAHTOA. That's my hypotenuse, that's my opposite, and we know sine theta is equal to opposite over the hypotenuse. And then we'll just fill in what we know. That means sine of 35 is equal to x, that's what we're trying to find, over 7, which means 7 times sine 35 is equal to x. And I worked that out, the whole pile of decimal places is 4.01504. And then that means your h, let's go back to the diagram. You've just found out this thing, this was your x, but you want to find this, so you need to add on all in meters. That's going to be 0.85 meters, so that's what we need to do. So it's going to be the 4.01504 plus your 0.85, which works out to be 4.86504. And I think we'll go to 2 decimal places, which is 4.87 meters to 2 decimal places. Excellent. Right, next question. A tin of beans. Cylindrical tin of beans has a radius of 3.4 centimeters and a height of 12 centimeters. The entire curved surface area is covered by a label. The label has a 1 centimeter overlap to allow for sticking. Calculate the area of the label. Okay, right, first of all, if you imagine you just did the circumference of this top, that would be 2 pi r. So if I opened that label out, it would really be 2 pi r, but remember it had that 1 centimeter overlap. So 2 pi r plus 1, and the vertical height of this thing is 12, so that's really the area of the label. So you've got 2 pi r plus 1 really, because it goes round and over another wee bit, so that's really what you've got. So first of all, we're going to work out the, let's just say the width of the label. I'm going to work out the width is 2 pi r plus 1. So that's 2 pi times my r. What is the r of this thing? Radius is 3.4 and then plus 1. So the width works out, and this is a perfect exact answer. It's 6.8 pi plus 1. Leave it as that. Okay. The area then will just be equal to 12 times that. So we just want this times this, so 12 times the 6.8 pi plus 1, and you just fire that into your calculator. 268.3539605 I got when I did it out, and just give that to, I don't know, 2 decimal places. 268.35 centimeters squared, and again that's the 2 decimal places, and of course you would write your answer in your answer line. Okay, nice wee question here. This is a box and whisker diagram, or a box plot. It says the following information is available relating to a data set on age. The median age is 14, so 14 would be here. Every one of these wee things is worth 2. So it says the median is 14, so do a vertical line for your median. It says a maximum age is 35, so that's halfway between one of these. It says a range of ages is 32, so that means the lowest age is the maximum, minus 32, which is 3. So the lowest age is going to be here. Okay, and then also the lower quartile is 12. So do a vertical line for your lower quartile. And your upper quartile is going to be 12 plus 8, which is 20. And then just link it up like so. And that is it. Nice question. Next one says, Jane states that the majority of the people in the data set are aged 16 and below. Is she correct? Okay, now this really is testing your understanding of the median. So your median is here. It's at 14. So the median is a value halfway through the distribution. So that means 50% of the values are less than 14. So she says that the majority of people in this data set are aged 16. Is she correct? So she's absolutely correct because if half the people are less than 14, then more than half the people are less than 16. So your answer is yes. And we'll say because half the class, or half the people, we should say, I don't know if it's a class or what, half the people are below 14. So that means the majority, she is correct. Majority will be below 16. Okay, next question is a bounds question. It says the distance a car travels is given as 62 kilometers, correct to the nearest kilometer. The time taken for the journey is given as 1 hour 11 minutes, correct to the nearest minute. Find the maximum average speed of the car in kilometers per hour. Okay, maximum. So maximum speed so speed, first of all, is distance over time. To make a fraction as big as possible, you want the top line to be as big as possible and the bottom line to be as small as possible. So that's what we need to do. So our maximum distance, the distance was 62 kilometers to the nearest kilometer. So the upper bound of that is going to be 62.5 kilometers. The minimum time was measured to the nearest minute. So make it as small as possible. It was 1 hour, and then 11 minutes, as small as that could be, is 10.5 minutes. Okay, so that means your maximum speed is your 62.5 divided by 1 hour, 1 hour and 10.5 minutes. So write that as, use your mix number button on your calculator. You don't even need to convert to 10.5. You can literally put it in. I'm talking about this button on your calculator. Okay, you're going to be putting in a 1 and then 10.5, and then it's 10.5 minutes out of 60 minutes. So that's what you put in. There's absolutely no need to do anything else. And when I did that, I got 53.191489 on my calculator, which I'm going to give to one decimal place, 53.2 kilometers per hour. Okay, so a tricky enough wee bounds question. Next one. It says the equation of a straight line L is y is equal to 3mx plus 5. L1 passes through the point 48. Right, we're going to have to work this. I'm not going to read on any further here. I'm just going to sort out this. I'm going to find my m. So I'm going to, for my L1, we know y is equal to mx plus 5. And it passes through the point 48. So fire that in. So 8 is equal to 4m plus 5, which means 8 minus 5 is equal to 4m, which means 3 is equal to 4m, which means m is equal to 3 over 4. So you've got your, well here, that's all we need. That's all we need. Okay. Your L2, for L2 it says, the third line down here, the line L2 is perpendicular to L1. So for L2, the gradient of L2 is a negative reciprocal of L1. So flip L1's gradient upside down and change its sign. So minus 4 over 3. So we know where L2 is minus 4 over 3x plus c. We just need to find c. We also know it passes through this point. This pen's playing up here. Passes through this point here. Minus 3, 2. So we're just going to put in minus 3, 2. So 2 is equal to minus 4 over 3 times minus 3 plus c. So that's 2 is equal to, and that would be 4 plus c. So minus 2 is equal to c, which means y is equal to minus 4 over 3x minus 2. Okay, right, circle theorems. Actually, very nice circle theorems question, this one. It says, O is the centre of a circle. Calculate the size of P. So P, just don't be thinking P. P is not this whole angle. P is only this wee tiny bit in here. So you're using the fact that the angle in a diameter then, on the circumference when it comes from a diameter, is 90 degrees. So P can work out is going to be 180 minus 90 and minus 54. So P worked out to be 36 degrees. Next thing you've got to find is angle Q. This is by your alternate segment theorem. You probably learned your alternate segment theorem something like this. Oh, terrible. But you imagine that's a tangent. And if that's your angle A and that's your angle B, then A is equal to B. That's the same situation we're in here. So Q and 54 are going to be the same. So Q is just equal to 54 degrees. No working out required. And that's it. Okay, next one. It says the lines AB, BC, and CA are tangents to the circle. What type of triangle is BPQ? So we're looking about this triangle in here, BPQ. I have no idea, but we need to find the angles of it to establish what type of triangle it is. It's either going to be a right angle triangle, an isosceles triangle, an equilateral triangle, or a scalene triangle where none of the angles are equal. We'll have to just find out. So let's just go through this and fill in what we can. This wee length, because this side and this side are both tangents, it's what's called a tangent kite, but the property we're looking for is that those two, that's length C to Q is equal to C to R, which means this is an isosceles triangle, which means that's 65, which means this works out to be 50 degrees. Okay, so we have to write this up. So I'm going to say CQR. CQR is equal to 65 degrees as the triangle CRQ is isosceles, and then we worked out that RCQ works out to be 180 minus 65, which was 50 degrees. Okay, let's go back up here and see what else we can do. Oh, right, that means the angle here we can work out. It's going to be 180 minus 70 minus 50, which works out to be 180 minus 120, which works out to be 60 degrees. So that means the angle, I've called it ABC. It is ABC, but we'll call it ABC. ABC is 180 minus 50 minus 70, which is equal to 60 degrees. Okay, so that's equal to 60 degrees. And then if we zoom in on this wee triangle, we've now worked out this is 60 degrees. This wee triangle here is also isosceles, so that's going to be 60 and 60, because together those two had to add up to 120. So the triangle we were looking for at the very start, we now know it's an equilateral triangle. So how have I written this up then? So we know then the angles at the top there, BPQ and BQP, they are equal. As it's isosceles, and then we can say BPQ equals BQP, which is equal to 180 minus the 60, and then that got divided by 2, so they're both equal to 60 degrees. So we can say, so three angles the same, so the triangle BPQ PQ is equilateral. Okay, getting there. Next one, stratified sample. It says here, a golf club has 240 members. A survey is to be carried out using a stratified sample of the members. Some of the information relating to the survey is recorded in the table. Okay, so we'll use this column here to do this. That was your total number of members, 42. And then the number sampled was 7. So 7 divided by 42. So we'll just say that 7 over 42 is equal to 1/6. So 1/6 is sampled. So that's going to be the same all the way along. So to get this, I've done 1/6 times 114. And when I did that out, I got 19. To get this, it's actually going to be 6 times the 5, which is going to be 30. And then to get this, we knew there were 240 members. So it's 240 minus the 42 juniors, the 114 ones from 41 to 60, and the 30 seniors, which worked out to be 54. So that's 54 in here. And the last thing, this is 1/6 of 54, and 1/6 of 54 is 9. So they're just going to be looking for you to put the answers in, but I just had to show you where I got those from. Okay, next bit. Oh, there'll be very few people get much from these questions. People do not like these. Next one is your difference of two squares. So we should know, this will be identity, x squared minus y squared is equal to x minus y upon x plus y, which means square root of 4 over 9 is 2 over 3, and the square root of the x is x. Sorry, square root of x squared is x. So you can put that into both brackets. Square root of 100 is 10, and that minus 10 and plus 10 goes in both brackets. So that's we have 2 over 3x minus 10, 2 over 3x plus 10. Tough one again. This one here, we have to factorize this thing. First thing you could do is pull an a outside a bracket, leaving you 6x squared plus 7xy minus 3y squared, and then it's sum and product. So my sum in this bracket is 7y. My product is minus 18y squared. So look at your minus 18y squared and look at how you can get it. So you could do minus y times 18y. It's not going to work. You could do minus 2y times 9y. Oh, happy days, and that does work. So what we've got now, our whole thing, you can rewrite it as a upon, I'll use a square bracket, 6x squared minus 2yx, I could have said xy, should have said xy, I'll fix that, apologies, xy, 2xy, and then plus 9xy minus 3y squared. Now what we're going to do is factorize the first two terms, so I can pull out 2x, leaving me 3x minus y. Over here I could pull out 3y, and then I would have inside, I'll have 3x minus y. I know I'm on the right track because I've got the same common bracket. So it's going to be a times, write down your common bracket, 3x minus y, and then 2x plus 3y. So that's my answer. So a upon 3x minus y upon 2x plus 3y. Okay, next question says, the side of a shed is in the shape of a trapezium as shown. The height of the back of the shed is 3.5 meters. The height of the front is given as 2x minus 1, and the length is given as 5x minus 4. The area of the side of the shed is 19.5. By forming and solving a quadratic equation, find the height of the front and the length of the shed. Right, a lot of work to do here, and not a great deal of space given to you here, so we'll try and work sparingly here. We're talking about the area of a trapezium. So the formula for the area of trapezium given to you at the front of your book, your paper I should say, that's what it is, and fill it in. We know the area is 19.5, so 19.5 is a half, times A, which is one of your parallel sides, we'll call it 3.5, plus the other parallel side, which is going to be 2x minus 1, times the perpendicular distance between them, which is 5x minus 4. That is an absolute mess. First thing I'm going to do is divide across by the half. So I'm just going to show my work out. 19.5 divided by a half. And just do that in your calculator. I know it's easy, it's just the same as multiplying by 2, but do in your calculator just to be careful. And then sort out these brackets. So this bracket 3.5 plus 2x minus 1 is the same as 2x plus 2.5. And then the other bracket was 5x minus 4. So let's sort out 19.5 divided by a half is going to be 39. And then sort this out. So you have 2x times 5x is 10x squared. 2x times minus 4 is minus 10x. 2.5 times 5. Sorry, I can't. What have I done here? That's a mistake. It should have been 2x times minus 4 is minus 8x. And then next thing is 2.5 times the 5x is going to be 12.5x. And 2.5 times minus 4 is minus 10. Again, that's a mess. Let's tidy it up. Bring it all to one side, have it equal 0. You'll have 0 equals 10x squared. That will be 4.5x and then minus 49, which means your x is equal to minus 4.5 plus or minus the 4.5 squared minus 4 times my 10 times my minus 49. Square root of all that, all divided by 2a. So that's 2 times your 10. And when I did that out, I got my x is minus 2.45, or my x is equal to 2. Now let's look at this. One of them is not possible. You can't have your x being minus 2.45, because if you look at that side, it would be minus 2 times minus 2.45 minus another 1. It's going to be a negative length. It's not going to work. Don't need to explain it. Just say IMP to say that's impossible, so that you understand it doesn't work. Now what you've got to do, you define the height and you define the length. So that's what we've got to do. So we know x equals 2. So just say when x equals 2, then 2x minus 1 will be 2 times 2 minus 1. That's going to be 4 minus 1. It's going to be 3 meters. And just say when x equals 2, 5x minus 4 is going to be 5 times 2 minus 4, which is going to be 5 times 2 is 10 minus 4 is going to be 6. And that's going to be meters again. So you can see your height is 3 meters and your length is 6 meters. Okay, 3 more questions to go. Right, it says the table and histogram show some information relating to the time taken by 140 people. I'm going to write that in first of all. We know there's 140 people in total, and office workers who travel to work. So you've got to complete this table first of all. The first bit you've got to do, it says complete the frequency table. We'll find this bit first of all. So this is from 40 to 60. So 40 to 60, you've got the frequency is found by the area. So we want to find the area of this bar. That's what we want to do here. So the area is a width. So it's going to be, the frequency is going to be the width, which is 20, times the frequency density. So the frequency density, if you just go across here, frequency density would be 2.4. So frequency times 2.4, and that worked out to be 48. And then to get this last frequency, it's just going to be 140, our total, minus the 48, minus the 33, minus the 39, minus the 16. So that worked out, where did I do it? I worked out to be 4. Okay, so we've completed the frequency table. Next sentence says complete the histogram. So we're missing this bar here for the 0 to 40. So we've got to get it sorted. So the frequency density for this one, we'll just say frequency density is your frequency divided by your width. So the frequency was 4, and it was divided by 40. 4 divided by 40 will be 0.1. So I haven't got a ruler, but if you would mark on your table then, your histogram I should say, mark on this wee height here at 0.1. So if I zoom out, that's what your histogram should now look like. Obviously use a ruler. Okay, next bit says calculate an estimate for the median time. Now remember there were 140 values. So our median is going to be half of that. So the median is going to be 140 divided by 2. So it's going to be the 70th value. All right. Now we'll go back to our thing. Remember that the 70th value is what we're looking for. Now in this, and I've got these in the table, there were 4 values in here. There were 48 values in here. And then there were 33 values in here. But 4 plus 48 gives you 52. And we're going to assume the 52nd value is right on the edge here. So the 52nd value is 60. We're going to write that down now. The 52nd value is 60. So 52nd value equals 60. And we need to get this to the next value. So we need to get the 70th value, I should say. So we need to go 18 values into the third interval, or we'll say the third interval, that's fine, the third interval. Okay, let's look back at that third interval. That third interval from your table has got 33 values, and the width of it is from 60 to 70. So we are going, our median then, this was our 52nd value. We needed to go 18 values into it, and there were 33 values, and the width of it was 10. Fire that into your calculator as I have done, and I got 65.454545, and that is, we'll say 65.5 minutes. That's the 3 sig figs or 1 dp, whatever way you want to set. So 65.5 minutes. Almost there. Okay, right. Happy days. We've got a lovely fraction question here. We're on the last 2 questions of the exam. 7 marks for each of them here. This one, to solve this, I would bring the fractions to both sides, the algebraic fractions to both sides. Okay, then I would take a common denominator. So my common denominator is 3x minus 1 upon 2x plus 3. And my top line, that 3 had to get multiplied by 2x plus 3. And that 4 got multiplied by 3x minus 1. And then just cross multiply. So I'll not show too many steps here in one go. I've still got that ugly thing to multiply out there. And then 5 times the 3x minus 1 times the 2x plus 3. Again, they haven't left you a wild lot of room here, so just work sparingly. And then multiply this out, you're going to have 6x plus 9 plus 12x minus 4. And then leave the 5 and then multiply this bracket so it becomes one big bracket. You're going to have 6x squared. And then that was 3x times 2x. 3x times 3x is going to be 9x. Minus 1 times the 2x is minus 2x. Minus 1 times the 3 is minus 3. And then tidy up on the left-hand side, you'll have 18x plus 5 is equal to 5 times 6x squared plus 7x minus 3, which means 18x plus 5 is equal to 30x squared plus 35x minus 15. Which means 30x squared plus 17x, and bringing everything across, then minus 20. And then we have to just solve that. So solve that quadratic using your quadratic equation, which again is given to you. So it's going to be minus 17 plus or minus the 17 squared minus 4 times the 30 times the minus 20. That was square rooted. All divided by 2 times your a, which is 30. And when I fired that into my calculator, They asked me to do this to 2 decimal places, so minus 1.5 to 2 decimal places, or it was 0.58 to 2 decimal places. Okay, so quite a nice wee question. This last one isn't overly nice. This is something that you see very, very, very briefly when you're going through the course. You wouldn't spend an awful lot of time on this. Okay, this question says a cone with a base radius of 5.25 centimeters and a volume of 497 centimeters squared is made by folding a sector as shown. Calculate calculate to the nearest degree the angle theta at the apex of the sector needed. Okay, so that's what we're looking to get at the end of this question. Right, this comes from the fact that if you've got a sector, if you pull that straight edge round to that straight edge, you pull that all round, so the two straight edges line up, what it will form is a cone. So there's my cone. And basically, the radius here goes to the slant height here, and the arc length goes to the this is a cone I've drawn here. The arc length goes to the length of the circumference of the base. Even I'll just say the circumference of the base. That's what it goes to. And also the sector area. The sector area becomes a curved surface area. Okay, so we're going to use that information to do this. Right, okay, we've just got to get started. Before we have a lot to do before we can get anywhere near the answer here. So again, they haven't left you much space to do this. So we're going to look at the cone first of all. So just say cone. And for the cone, we know for the cone, the volume is equal to 1/3 pi r squared h. And they tell you that the volume is 497. And they tell you that the radius is 5.25. And we're going to use this information to find the h. So 497, and just use your fraction button and your brackets, divided by brackets 1/3 pi times 5.25 squared is going to be equal to your h. So you can get your h. Now I've worked, I think, to 5 decimal places because I'll need this later on. So I've just said that's 17.21905. Hopefully I've done that correctly. Right. What I can get then is my slant height as well, because remember this slant height is going to become this radius. That's why I'm doing this. So I needed my height of my cone. You can imagine there's my there's my height of my cone, and there's the radius. So I can use Pythagoras to find the L. So we can say then that L, the slant height, will be equal to the square root of the 17, what I've just worked out, 17.21905 squared, plus the 5.25 squared. So that was my length squared, my L squared, plus my R squared, and then square rooted to get my, sorry, that's nonsense. That was my H squared plus my R squared, and then square rooted to get my L. And I worked out my L, and it was 18.00162 to a whole pile of decimal places. Okay, right. The circumference of the base, then we're going to look at. Is equal to 2 pi r. So that's just going to be 2 pi times the r, which is 5.25. So that is 10.5 pi. Perfect. Leave it as 10.5 pi. 10.5 pi. That's for your circumference of your base. Right, now we're going to look at the sector. And this is how it all relates then. If you've got a better way of doing this, please let me know. I can't think of a quicker way of doing this one. So for your sector, we know that the radius of the sector is the same as the slant height. So the radius of this sector here is the same as the slant height of the cone. Okay, so the radius is 18.00162. And we also know the arc length is equal to the circumference of the base, which means the arc length is perfect answer of 10.5 pi. All right, so arc length is 10.5 pi, and it's also equal to theta, which we're trying to find, over 360 times 2 times pi times r, and my r was 18.00162. So you see I've gone off the page here, so I shouldn't have done, so just make sure you don't do that. So we've got to rearrange this subject to make theta the rearrange this formula to make theta the subject. So I have my 10.5 pi, going to multiply across by my 360. Everything else goes on the bottom line. So 2 pi, and also that 18.00162 goes on the bottom, and that's equal to my theta. Let me just check that. 10.5 pi times 360 over 2 pi times, yes, that looks right. And then my theta worked out to be 104.9905. And the question said to give it to the nearest degree, which is 105 to nearest degree. And that, perfect timing, there you go, is the end of the exam. So we just check. This is the end of the question paper.